Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm reading this book, and it quite possibly is the best book ever written because I'm in it! Winning! If you want to know the rate of return on dating women, you need to buy the Book of Numbers. There's a link in the description, down there in the penis area. Meet Gazer! What's up, you male chicken chasers? Terrence Popp here, Redonkulas.com. Bad Pop showed up today because I got bad news for you. No. I have worse news for you. Women, well, they want a license to cheat and they want you to flip the bill. But just you wait. It gets way worse. There are a lot of men out there who are lining up to lick the special sauce. God!
Ooh, one down.
Hey! Free lube winning! Oh God, no, Space Ghost. What has happened to the men of today who gladly agreed to a situation like this? As long as it doesn't interfere with their daily intake of soy and Xbox, of course. And this great psyop that is here to destroy what is left of relationships has one name. If you looked at the board, you're already cheating on the test. I trained you well. Polyamory, well, that sounds like a 19th century school teacher. But the only thing she's teaching you is painful lessons issued out with a yardstick. Lessons in hopelessness, isolation, and pure joyful agony. Think about it. You willingly let another dude bend your woman over. Guess who's getting the proxy boning? Oh God. With that being said, it's time to hit the menagerie and get ourselves a little drunk and pick a fight out in the parking lot. Yeah. All right, you know me. We're gonna start this off with pointing out the obvious here. You can tell who benefits from these situation shits by simply doing an internet search. Every single one of the people out there trying to sell you this ball-crushing BS, you guessed it, is a woman.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Basically, they want to invert the harem structure in the religion of peace. Stunning and brave, I have to drink. I just hope they pick people of legal age and same species. But they will never admit that. Not in a million years. There's an idiot out there named Tara who won't even admit that it's about hugging while twerking.
7 polyamorous relationship myths it's time to stop believing.
This ought to be good.
Myth 1, polyamory is mostly about having a lot of frisky time.
Right, but I assume she's right. It's not just about that. It's also about you finding someone to bankroll your quest to become a petri dish of disease.
Let's pretend that's not true.
Yeah.
They will dress this up with some linguistic propaganda, and I can't believe I just said that. And it is designed to shame you as a man into accepting it.
Polyamory requires emotional literacy, as well as the ability to communicate well, set and respect boundaries, and keep agreements.
That's right, gentlemen. If you don't support your woman getting that new job as a glory hole attendant, you're emotionally illiterate. Even though you're the one that wants to keep your wedding vows, you're the person who can't keep agreements. But if you're stupid enough to fall for this and embrace the suck, oh boy, you are off to the races without an engine. Rolling into the crash-up derby with a trunk full of cement and spunk. Oh God! Now, I'm going to admit, do I understand why some men go for this? Yes, I do. But only if you're thinking with the little head, not the big head. That little head sure is not for thinking. There's a hole in his head as well, and that's where all the bad decisions come out. When you sign up for this, all of those bad decisions, they wind up in a tissue or a shower drain because you're a simp and a wimp, Screen 5. It starts off innocent enough, and in fact, most people will call it kinda kinky. Your significant other comes up to you and goes, our shagging life is great, but I think our relationship is strong enough to allow other people in. After all, it is current year and you don't want to be shackled with outdated gender norms, right? In grunt speak, well, that's basically being asked to part ways with your self-respect. On the off chance that you actually find another woman willing to sleep with you. That's gonna happen. If you're the kind of simp that agrees to this, you couldn't score even if they pull a goalie and put 2 defensemen in the penalty box. And after you crack open that door for another person, the sausage parade commences and they kick that door in. Now you're just the Walmart greeter for all the roosters coming into the hen house.
Welcome to Walmart. Get your and get out.
And you're the bellhop who lugs all of that baggage on your way out the door. And don't you dare ask for a tip. I have a feeling you're not going to like it, and that's just gross. Because remember this. All it takes for a woman to get a tonsil massage is simply say yes. As a dude, you gotta be funny, charming, and tall, in shape, and wealthy enough to pay all of the bills. And no, I didn't say anything about being nice, and you all know I'm right. And even then, your batting average makes you a bench warmer in the minor leagues. I never played in those leagues because I heard what happens when you play for Coach Epstein. Because today's Western women believe, well, they can have it all. And because that definition is always changing, they deserve better. They are taught from square one, simply being a woman gives them innate value.
What that means is a woman simply is worthy, and that has nothing to do with how many degrees she has.
Once men reach the age of 18, we are absolutely and completely expendable. And any value that we do have needs to be earned through blood, sweat, and tears. And even then, if you're 5'7", not enough for today's vaginuts. Think about that next time your partner offers to spice things up and tries to shame you for having the self-respect to dare say the word no. Because that is what's going to happen, and the proof is in the man pudding you're scraping off your mattress. Oh, you don't believe me, huh? I have receipts. Let's look at this article. The Truth About Polyamory by Deborah Anapole. Maybe it's pronounced Anapole, and that's how she worked her way through college. She's got a PhD, and we all know that stands for Pretty Huge Dick. Screen 5. She wrote 2 books about this depravity, called Love Without Limits and Polyamory in the 21st Century. You remember that because there will be an HIV test later. Space Ghost. I propose a drinking game for you. Are you ready? Every time this woman lies, either directly or through omission, take a shot. And if she lies with statistics, take a double shot. We're not going to read the whole article, but if you want to read it yourself and die of alcohol poisoning, links in the description. And before you do that, go to redonkulas.com/donate and check out Subscribestar, because Big Tech can look at it.
Number 1, there's no evidence that monogamy is better in terms of relationship longevity, happiness, health, sexual satisfaction, or emotional intimacy.
Go on.
There's also no evidence that polyamory is better, so you may as well go with what feels best for you and your partners.
Did you see the lie there? Let us drink. When you put very specific parameters on virtually anything, you can torture the truth until it lies however you want. I'm looking at you, CNN. You guys don't even try anymore. But the parameter that really cracks me up is this emotional intimacy. Come on! If you go polyamory for emotional intimacy, that's like going to O.J. Simpson for marriage counseling. What a great idea. Sure, he'll offer a solution, but it definitely will not be the preferred method and no one's gonna wind up happy. Here's a thought. What about parameters of physical and psychological abuse? You will notice that Miss, and I'm assuming it's not Mrs., anal pole avoids subjects like that. Gee, I wonder why. It's not like there's a whole library of horror stories from this community. After all, people in abusive relationships, they always admit when they're not happy. In this article,
I was in an abusive polyamorous relationship for 7 years.
Inez Rollo phrases it perfectly.
Love is no match for abuse, but love, or what we think love is, will keep us trapped in dangerous relationships.
By deliberately ignoring this subject, Miss Anapole lies through omission. But that means she told the truth on accident. Then there's this stunning and brave log entry.
Polyamory sucks. I want to die.
By the stunning and brave, you gotta be kidding me. I can't read this. We'll get banned.
Fine, I'll read.
There you go.
Sue Ice Doll, lazy narcissistic queer sleut.
Well, at least she knows. She admits how she absolutely destroyed her victim. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant partner. Because she refused to stop munching another carpet. Eventually, that relationship ended. Surprise, surprise. And now she wants your sympathy. After emotionally and spiritually gutting another human being. Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll have to go with a big off.
Then there's Jazz Meyer over at Bold who writes,
I tried polyamory and lost my marriage.
but 2 years later,
What monogamous couples can learn from polyamory.
oh, I have to assume you are aware of the modern definition of insanity, right? You know, doing the same thing over and over again and always expecting different results. Ladies, when you decide to treat your snot pocket like a clown car and the driver bails out, guess what happens? Right around your mid-30s, you smash into the wall. There is one word that sums all of this up way better than polyamory. It's a nasty word. In fact, it's an N-word. That's right, it's
And you're gonna get us banned!
Dude, I was gonna say narcissist.
Oh, all right. Cheers.
Yeah. Winning. Narcissism is what all of these people have in common. We already know what the death of the nuclear family has done to this country and its children. 85% of the people in prison, no father at home. And a vast majority of violent criminals are created in these unstable environments. Homes that run on emotion, and a government check. Not logic, not reason, and certainly not discipline. You don't think these things are connected? Check it out.
Poly parents are losing custody of their kids in brutal divorce battles.
Gee, that's terrible. Let me think about that for a minute. Yeah, that's what I thought. Wah! And that is why she set the parameters this way. We're gonna focus on the immediate gratification of these sociopaths. We're not gonna stray outside those lines at all. Because as soon as you do, boom, death, destruction, and mayhem.
How dare you?
I will give her credit for this much, admitting that polyamory isn't better. But it's much worse. Speaking of which,
Number 2, women are not necessarily in favor of monogamy. They just don't like being lied to, treated inconsiderately, and expected to go along with a double standard.
wow! I'm not drunk enough for that one, so let's drink more. That is the shittiest attempt at cognitive damning that I have ever seen. And I've read 5 articles by Amy Horton. She starts off saying, I'm not saying one or the other is better, but all of a sudden, if you're for a monogamy, you're a male chauvinist pig. You're an inconsiderate liar and you must hate your mom. Wah. And then there's some BS double standard that we all know doesn't exist. But, you guessed it, it gets worse.
Historically, monogamy was imposed upon women by men who wanted to know who should inherit their property and assets.
You hear that, you chauvinists? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Monogamy was forced on women and it never should have happened. Wah. Because women, they never gained from this arrangement or anything. It's not like they went from living with daddy to their hubby with nothing in between, living off someone else's love and charity, and they never had to worry about the real world a day in their lives. While someone else, a man, risked life and limb for them in order to supply shelter, money, food, security, and stability. Everything they take for granted. Oh, that's oppression, and it was imposed on women without their consent. Space Ghost. So, they had a thought. The only way we can break these bonds of patriarchy is to let a mongrel horde of sausage into our chlamydia clams. Here's the feminism. Fighting patriarchy by sucking all the dicks. 2 to 3 at a time. More cock. Screen 5.
In the 21st century, most women are more interested in equal rights to sexual pleasure and personal freedom.
Who in their right mind would ever think this thought and then put pen to paper about it? Yeah. That was such a great idea. Winning? No. She's either a naive virgin, a bad liar, or a complete idiot. My money is on all 3. Then there's Jazz Meyer. She lost her marriage to this garbage. And she's still pushing it. Why?
One person can't fulfill all your needs.
Bullshit! One person can fulfill all your needs, and that person is you. When you accept responsibility for your own happiness, instead of heaping that burden on another person or, a whole smorgasbord of people, guess what happens then? No one can take it away from you anymore. And that is why these idiots are all doomed to failure. The only thing they could possibly be getting out of this is a bottle of antibiotics, if you know what I mean. Gonorrhea! Oh, it's dripping. Riggs!
Number 3, gay men are more likely than heterosexual couples, lesbians, or bisexuals to practice consensual non-monogamy, but they still struggle with jealousy.
And domestic violence, and mental illness. Links in the description. In fact, all the sources have links down there, so, have fun. You'll also find a link to a study in the National Library of Medicine, which shows that the alphabet community are far more likely to be victims of child abuse. Of the snuggle struggle variety, if you're catching my drift there. Boys who are abused are 7 times more likely to gargle the pole. And for girls, the possibility of licking the lumpy liver increases by a factor of 22.
It's the cascade of bad decisions.
Now, I'm not saying there's a link between adult debauchery and child abuse, because, that would be silly. But it's a well-known fact. Abused children tend to continue the cycle. Either they become abusers themselves or get into abusive relationships. It's not like dating somebody who demands your commitment while banging a bunch of other people, right? Space Ghost. That's totally healthy, and if you can't see that, you must be emotionally illiterate, please. Here's a disturbing thought. When more than half of the kids in the West are born out of wedlock, that makes child abuse 40 times more likely. You're gonna find more stories in the media trying to normalize this treachery. Because when avoiding the truth becomes a survival mechanism, you tend to keep that mechanism moving forward into adulthood. That explains why Debbie Anal Pole, PhD, that explains why this penis-huffing ditz lies her ass off about this. Instead of facts, she falls back on the feminist playbook. She uses shame language to make you feel like less of a man if you dare not agree. I can't imagine why anyone would think polyamory is abusive. They must be nuts, right? On your chin.
Number 4, children raised in consensually non-monogamous families have been shown to do at least as well on many measures of health and achievement as children in monogamous or serially monogamous families.
Wow, really? That is such a relief because I totally believe you. After all, you are citing a source for this one.
In my book, Polyamory in the 21st Century, I discuss both research and anecdotal reports which indicate that if anything, children in polyamorous families or open marriages do better than children in conventional families.
Bullshit! If you walked into a college and the professor used their own research as the textbook, would you walk away or would you run like you just walked in on your parents banging? Now that I've corrupted your thinking meat with that visual, let us drink. Anyone who uses the term "at least" while citing statistics is lying to you. Instead, we're going to talk to Dr. Karen Ruskin and see what she has to say.
It has been my ongoing experience that polyamory is not the ideal scenario for children to experience as their parents' lifestyle. It is my assertion that it is less than ideal with potentially traumatic effects. To announce it is great for children, report how wonderful it is for kids, is simply going too far and deluding oneself. Let's get real. Polyamory is not something you do for your kids to have a better life. Polyamory is something you do for yourself because it is something you want.
Some would say Dr. Ruskin respectfully disagrees with you, Deborah. But, like everything else, you have to consider the source, right? Dr. Ruskin is a marriage and family therapist with over 20 years of experience. She deals with the effects of this craziness as a job on the ground. Deborah Anapole was an academic who founded the polyamory movement. In other words, writing and teaching confirmation bias was her life's work. She dedicated her life destroying relationships using lies and propaganda. And why was that? I don't know, penance and reasons, I guess. And yes, I am using the past tense because this woman has already taken the dirt dart. But unfortunately, this woman already left a shit stain on the belly of humanity that's going to take a century to erase. Bottom line here, who you gonna believe? A woman who lies and bends the truth to push an agenda that we know destroys families and causes serious damage. Or an actual therapist who spent her life trying to unfuck the damage that this woman has already made. Hey, I'm just asking for a friend. The choice is always yours. What about the cucumber in this Richard salad? The one where the chick with 5 boyfriends got pregnant, and then one of the dudes wound up getting charged with child abuse. No adverse effects for the kids there. Totally healthy. Just a broken leg, a broken arm, oh, and of course, skull fractures. How stunning and brave. So here is my final thought. This is not the type of thing that can have a happy ending. No, not that happy ending, you sick bastards. And no amount of propaganda is going to prevent people from eventually figuring out the truth. Once you go down this road, it is the death of 1,000 cuts, and you let it happen. Not even the best doctor in the world is going to be able to stop all of that blood loss. All it could do is give you 2 shots in the butt, some pills, and a harsh talking to that you richly need. That's assuming you don't self-delete because you got F'd in the A and not in a good way, and then you had to pay. If you just listen to the popster, you could avoid all of this bullshit. Quick fix. The minute anyone you're committed to suggests this, you need to make like a tree and get out of here. That's not right. If you jump into this with both feet thinking you're gonna get yourself some, well, the f***ing you get is not gonna be worth the f***ing you get. Don't forget, women get to sleep with who they choose, men get to sleep with who they're allowed to. Unless you're a male feminist and then you just kind of go to jail. The only thing standing between any woman, no matter how ugly, and a hen house full of roosters is the word yes. And yet dudes are bending over backwards and killing themselves just to take a bite of an apple that everyone has already put their worm in. Oh, God. You have the power, dudes. Remember that. Women decide who they bang, but we decide who we marry. And this one goes out to all the younger dudes out there. You can lose every battle and still win this war, if you keep your self-respect and play the long game. With that being said, I am done with all of these idiots like Deborah ain't a pole. I drank a whole lot of booze, and I gotta take one hell of a piss, and her grave looks like it needs some watering. Space Ghost. Let's talk about this on my couch. No. What? What? I don't swing that way. What are you talking about? I know what goes on up there. No! Get the hell away from me.
Why does the couch look inverted? Well, you're supposed to lay on your belly like this. Oh, no.
No. I'm not even going up there, bro. No.
They have the same one in the Oval Office. The Space Ghost is on.